While he's looking at his phone, it rings with a call from someone that makes his face twist in disgust. It's a woman named Jiang Xiaoqian, and just the sight of her name on his phone makes his hands tremble in anger. Suchen takes a deep breath, then picks up the call. As soon as he puts the phone to his ear, her voice comes from the other end, screaming at him in anger. He has not talked to her for a long time, and she is angry that he disappeared without letting her know. He even put his house on sale with his real estate agent. She asks our protagonist if he really thinks that he will find a woman willing to be with him after selling his house. The woman on the other end is his fiancée, Xiao Qian, and she isn't someone he's very interested in talking to. On her side of the line, she's applying lipstick after just being done cheating on him with another man. While another man named Xiao Yu relaxes on the bed behind her, she continues insulting Su Chen through the phone, asking him if he remembers his responsibility as a man. He may not care about the house, but she's still a woman, and she wants him to give her the house as a gift so she can feel more secure with him. After she's done talking, he asks if she's done with her rant and if there's anything else she wants to say. His attitude towards her makes her even more annoyed, and she decides to give him one more chance to come back and transfer the ownership of the house to her. If he doesn't do that, then she will refuse to marry him. She tells him that she's on her way back to Chengdu, and that she hopes they will talk more when she gets there, but he ends the call without answering her. Xiaoqian spent 5 years with him in the apocalypse in his past life. He searched everywhere for supplies to feed her and brought her to a safe house, where he continued to take care of her. If it wasn't for him, she would have starved to death and died in the middle of the end of the world. Yet, even with that, she cheated on him multiple times with a violent man that beat Su Chen on multiple occasions, anytime he came back empty-handed. Xiao Yu also accused him of hiding all the good things from them and keeping it to himself. One day, Xiao Yu killed Su Chen in the very safe house where he took care of Xiao Qian right in front of her, then fooled around with her right in front of his dead body, all while calling him useless. She didn't seem to care, and told Xiao Yu that Su Chen died because he was incompetent, all while he slowly died in the corner and watched it happen with his last breath. He was wronged by her in his last life, and he made the mistake of entrusting her with his life once before. But this time, both Jiang Xiaoqian and the man she cheated on him with, Xiao Yu, are going to pay the price for everything they did to him. Our protagonist will make sure that they won't die easily, and that they'll experience the pain they put him through 100 times over. His hand shakes in anger at the thought of what they did to him, but he takes a deep breath and calms himself down. For now, he needs to continue his quest of finding enough supplies to survive through the apocalypse. The rest of the things he needs can only be bought with money, and because of that, he first has to figure out how to get the money in the first place. He calls his real estate agent named Manager Liu and decides to offer up his house for half the market price. His only condition is that he wants the money in cash, and he wants it right now. With the deal set up, he makes his way to Dream Real Estate to finalize the deal on his house. But when he gets there, he sees Xiao Qian waiting for him with Xiao Yu, who has a baseball bat. Su Chen isn't bothered at all and walks past them into the real estate building, but he's blocked by Xiao Yu, who angrily asks him why he dares to sell their house. Because of that, he'll make sure that Su Chen won't see the sun tomorrow. While the thug is talking, Su Chen reaches out and grabs him by the neck. Then he lifts the angry man off the ground before slamming him back on the floor. Xiao Qian jumps to try and protect her lover from her fiancé. While she pulls on his jacket, she starts yelling for someone to save them from a murderer. Su Chen wastes no time before backhanding her across the face, sending her flying onto the ground. She stares at him in shock, completely surprised that he would touch her at all. While that is happening, he continues choking Xiao Yu on the ground as he begs for help. Su Chen assures him that he won't die too quickly, then lets him go, causing the disgraced thug to back up in fear, desperately coughing. Xiao Qian goes to check on her injured lover while Su Chen steps past both of them and continues into the office. Xiao Qian still hasn't learned her lesson and orders Su Chen to kneel down and apologize quickly while she's not yet angry. If he doesn't do that, she threatens not to marry him again. However, her empty threats are stopped once he turns around and glares at them. They freeze in fear before both of them run away, leaving him alone to handle his business. Now that they are finally gone, he steps inside to meet the real estate agent, who offers him a glass of water. The older man looks incredibly excited to be talking to Su-chen about selling his house at such a low price. But inside, he considers Su-chen a fool for selling a house worth over $1 million for just half the price. With that kind of deal, he can make a huge profit from a quick turnaround. Thanks to that, he agrees to make the full payment immediately and hands Su-chen the contract to sign. With that done, Su-chen walks out of the office with almost $1 million added to his bank account. Although various natural disasters are happening, Chengdu, where he lives, is an inland city far from the earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions happening throughout the rest of Asia. Adding to that, the government is officially trying to keep the public calm, so there is still a sense of normalcy in the area, and society is still functioning well. As he thinks about his next step, he passes a flyer advertising fast and high-interest loans. That gives him an idea, and he makes it his next step to get even more money by mortgaging his property with a property certificate. That leads him to Great Sea Loans, where he meets a large-bodied man smoking a cigarette. This man is Wang Dahai, Xiaoyu's older brother. In his past life, this man died in the mouths of mutant beasts pretty early into the apocalypse. Dahai notices that his house isn't worth very much. Su-chen only wants to know how much he can borrow even with his low-value house. The big-bodied man offers $500,000 for the property, as long as he also leaves the property certificate with him as a show of faith. Su-chen demands an extra $100,000 be paid to him immediately, and they will have a deal. He slams the property certificate on the table and stares straight at the man in front of him, while also promising to gather the money in a week. That way, he can make a profit from their exchange and pay everything back at once. Dahai is interested in this offer, and it seems that Su-chen is also a gambler. As long as he's involved in the trade and there could be a profit, Dahai thinks he might even sell his own parents. The older man thinks Su-chen is stupid for believing he can turn his life around in a single day. He has no idea just how far this plan of Su-chen's goes. Dahai smiles and takes a long puff of his cigarette as he contemplates the offer. He tells Su-chen that he'll agree to the terms as long as he mortgages the property certificate with their company. If he does that, everything else will be negotiable. After a long conversation, Su-chen walks out of the office with over $500,000 transferred to his bank account for the second time that day. Now he has all the money he needs to continue buying supplies in preparation for the end of the world. Meanwhile, Xiao Qian and Xiaoyu stumble through a park after they have finished running away from Su-chen. The other man is still out of it after being choked in the street and nearly dying. As they step out of a taxi, Xiao Qian continues to complain about Su-chen. All she wants is the house that they both own, and there's nothing wrong with that according to her. Yet despite her simple request, Su-chen laid his hands on her, and she can still feel the pain of the slap he gave her not too long ago. For that, she wants to make sure that he pays the price no matter what. Xiaoyu agrees as well, still holding his neck in pain from what Su-chen put him through. He'll make sure Su-chen pays the price. He already plans to ask his older brother to take him out. As they're talking, they notice Su-chen once again casually walking down the road, heading to his next destination. Xiao Qian and Xiaoyu are surprised to see him casually walking down the road in front of them after everything he had done. They decide to follow him and see what he has been up to that has made him so cocky. Su-chen, however, is searching for the next major grab of resources before society collapses. In his memory, many commercial buildings collapsed under the impact of seawater backflow and rapid freezing and severe cold. However, the Green City Hotel withstood all the natural disasters down to the very end. Because of that, he heads there next to figure out how he can take advantage of that. From what he remembers, the presidential suite inside is well equipped, and there's even a swimming pool that should help him manage extreme temperatures. For now, it might be a good idea to use the place as a base, and on top of that, living there for a long time wouldn't be a bad idea. Although many warehouses were emptied before, there's no shortage of hot meals and ingredients in the hotel's warehouse. As he walks into Green City Hotel, a woman notices him. She introduces herself as Liu Xinrui, the hotel's restaurant manager, and she asks how she can assist him today. Su-chen tells her that he wants to order 1,000 tables of food for a banquet and wonders if they can do that for him. The number of tables shocks the manager, and she struggles to respond for a moment. But then she eagerly agrees that they can definitely do something like that. However, the prices range from 5,000 to 10,000. even up to 100,000 per table. Suchin decides to pick the tables worth 10,000, which means the total price will be about 10 million for the whole banquet. For that, he's willing to put down a 50,000 deposit as long as they deliver to the address that he will provide. The manager is impressed that such a young man has a grand demeanor, and suspects that he might be a hidden source of second-generation wealth. She has no idea that all this comes from huge loans and a speedy sale of his house. She agrees to his terms of a 50,000 deposit, and directs him over to her office so he can make the payment. Just the cost of the ingredients for the banquet alone is estimated to be 50,000, but being able to connect with rich people means that she has to be smooth with negotiation. As they walk to her office, she asks Su Chen if he's getting married anytime soon. Since he has no other excuse for why he would need a huge banquet, he decides to go along with the story that he's getting married, and that's why he needs everything. In the meantime, he also asks her to book a presidential suite for him to stay in. With negotiations done, Suchin walks out of the hotel, happy that he managed to get 10 million worth of dishes settled for a 50,000 deposit. As for the final payment, by the time the scorching post-apocalyptic world hits, even a single block of ice will be worth billions. The woman inside is also happy with the deal and the fact that he booked the presidential suite. She thinks that he's doing all of this for his honeymoon, and that whoever marries him must be truly fortunate. While she sits and thinks to herself, Xiao Qian walks into the hotel and asks the manager about Su Chen. Manager Liu doesn't immediately answer her and first asks who exactly this newcomer is. Xiao Qian answers that she's Su Chen's girlfriend and wants to know what he was doing there. Now that the manager has verified her identity, she informs Xiao Qian that her boyfriend ordered a banquet of 1,000 tables from the hotel. She even tells her that having a boyfriend like him must be amazing. Meanwhile, in her mind, Manager Liu thinks this girl is only a 7 at best, and it seems like her temperament is way too high. Rich people always seem to like these types of girls. The two are shocked that Su Chen could order a 10 million budget banquet, and they don't believe him at first. But then Manager Liu explains that wealthy people love to play the game of hiding their identity. They fear their partners might be after their money, so they only reveal their wealth on the day of the wedding. They still don't believe that someone like Su Chen could be wealthy, and Xiao Qian remembers that for the past few days, he has done nothing but try to disappear from their lives and even resorted to cold violence. But Manager Liu proves her point by showing that Su Chen transferred 50,000 wen as a deposit for the banquet. The two leave the hotel to think about the new information they've found. Why would Su Chen order so many tables from a fancy 5-star hotel? Who is he planning to invite? Xiao Qian believes he wants to introduce her to his wealthy circle and then bring her into his life of riches. Xiao Yu asks what they should do now that they know this while he reaches for her chest with his hand. She slaps his hand away and realizes that she needs to create opportunities for Su Chen to get back with her as soon as possible. In her mind, she starts imagining a life of wealth and luxury, where she's dressed in fancy clothes, living in a luxurious house, surrounded by maids and butlers catering to her needs. Just the thought of that alone makes her drool, and she can't believe that she would see this kind of opportunity with someone like Su Chen. Su Chen returns to his old home to continue planning his zero-cost purchase, which at this point was pretty much just stealing since he didn't plan to return anything that he had taken so far, or to pay for any of it either. During his raid, a lot of essential items hadn't been bought yet, and the remaining money was just not enough to cover the costs. So he resorts to another devious method to get money. He can use online loan apps to gain a ton of money quickly and use it to fund the rest of his raid. So for the whole afternoon, Su Chen downloaded more than 80 apps at once and spent a long amount of time taking selfies and gaining loan amounts that ranged from 30,000 wen and above. By the time he was done, he had gained about 970,000 wen in loans, and he was ready to start his shopping spree yet again. He collapses on the bed, feeling the urge to pass out, but there was no time to waste at all, and there were still many things to buy. He had to get fireplaces, ice makers, ice blocks, smokeless coal, and other supplies that weren't available in supermarkets. Fortunately, all these things can be bought online, and the delivery is super fast. He's going to need all these things to survive the extreme heat and the severe cold that will kick off the apocalypse. Him making it through the intense temperature changes will completely depend on whether he has enough materials to regulate the weather. So he gets to work, contacting multiple companies to prepare the materials that he would need. He starts by ordering 2,000 tons of smokeless coal and offers to pay 500,000 yen in deposits. Then he does the same thing with the ice factory, ordering multiple tons of ice from them as well. A few of the companies request a face-to-face discussion, so he leaves his apartment to head over and talk to the ice makers. As soon as he steps outside, he stumbles into a new face, followed by an unwelcome old one. Her name is Lina, and she is a close friend of Xiaoqian. In fact, she was the one that introduced them to each other and trapped him in that awful relationship. She walks up to him with a smile while her friend follows closely behind. She then tells him that his girlfriend has been missing him very much. He asks them if she has been missing him or if she has been missing his house. Lina tries to cover for her friend and tells Su Chen that his girlfriend was only testing him before. She accuses him of being clueless and ignoring how sad Xiaoqian has been without him. The gold digger of a girlfriend takes the opportunity to latch onto Su Chen's arm and plead with him. She asks him to accompany her for a walk and apologizes for scolding him yesterday in hopes that he won't be mad at her. The act doesn't impress him at all, and he pulls his arm away, telling her that he's busy and she should go and take a stroll by herself. Xiaoqian is surprised that Su Chen is acting so arrogantly, but Lina snaps her out of it and points out that he's taking a taxi somewhere. This might be her final test, so she encourages Xiaoqian to follow him in a different taxi and see where he goes. Su Chen makes his way to the ice factory to meet with the manager and place his order. The older gentleman greets him and seems surprised that Su Chen is so young despite all the things that he's buying. The two shake hands. Then the younger man follows up the discussion by asking how long it'll take to produce and ship the 2,000 tons of ice that he had ordered. The manager assures Su that their ice factory is very efficient and one of the best in the state. He promises to deliver the edible ice in 3 days, and the total price of it all would be 800,000 yen. Su Chen agrees and hands over a 100,000 yen deposit. Then he gives the man an address to deliver the ice to in 3 days. Now that the transaction has been confirmed, the man decides to ask him why he needs so much ice. Was there some sort of large-scale event happening somewhere? If he is a regular organizer, then they could partner more in the future. He was somewhat correct, since there is definitely a large-scale event happening soon, but Su Chen can't just casually tell him that. So instead, he lies that he plans to donate all the ice to the Alishan for charity. The manager is surprised, but at the end of the day, an 800,000 yuan deal has been settled immediately at the entrance. That young man must really be something. As he watches Su Chen's taxi drive away, another taxi pulls up, and he wonders if this is someone else here for business without an appointment. Xiaoqian and Lina step out of the taxi and walk over to talk to the manager. Xiaoqian tells the boss that Su Chen is her fiancé, and she wants to know what they were talking about. He doubts her a little and wonders if this is some sort of detective play, but he still tells her that Su Chen had ordered 800,000 yuan worth of ice from his company. Xiaoqian and Lina nearly scream at the mention of that, since this pretty much confirms that Su Chen must be some sort of second-generation super-rich personality. No one in their right minds would spend that much money on just ice. Lina desperately asks what Su Chen wants to do with so much ice, and he tells them that Su Chen plans to donate it for charity. Of all the responses they expected, they definitely were not expecting that. Back with our protagonist, Su Chen has now purchased all the items he would need to survive in the apocalypse, and now he decides to enjoy the little time he has left before the world descends into chaos. In his last life, he was too busy working to ever think of doing anything in luxury. Even going to a small cafe was out of the question for him since he was so preoccupied. So he decides to go to a fancy restaurant to relax and enjoy himself. A waitress welcomes him and hands him a menu to look through. There's a lot of delicious foods like butter chicken, naan, and smoked steak, with each item on the list needing him to spend up to 4 digits. One menu item in particular catches his eye, and it seems to be a mystery item that costs 17,000 yuan. He asks about it, and the waitress confirms that it's a meal personally crafted by the head chef of the restaurant. The details completely depend on the chef's inspiration. That sounds interesting. So Su Chen decides to get that for himself. In his last life, at the beginning of the apocalypse, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate and turn into terrifying beasts. There were many monsters, like a giant serpent, that appeared in the midst of the floods in the early days of the apocalypse. He would need to prepare himself to deal with those things when they start to appear. But for now, his eyes are drawn to a pink-haired beauty walking towards his table with his food. She introduces herself as the head chef of the restaurant, and she brought the food she specially tailored for him based on his temperament. She doesn't need to introduce herself since Su Chen already recognized her. In his last life, she was known as Hell's Chef, Duan Ya. She had the magical culinary skill to turn decayed monster meat into food, and no one could resist its temptation. However, those dishes were made using mutations sourced from inside monstrous beasts, and eating them would lead to certain death. She notices his dark expression and wonders if he thinks that a beautiful woman like her will poison his food, so she tries to calm him down by introducing the food. The dish is called Dual-Faced Life, and it's a piece of steak where one side is tuna fried in brown butter, while the other side is deep fried in puff pastry. It's a kind of steak with two flavors that leave a lasting impression. Su Chen hides his expression and takes a bite of the steak. It is definitely worth the 17,000 yuan he spent on it, and the taste is really good. If only she could cook for him in the apocalypse. But it's possible that she could poison his food and he would have no idea. Meanwhile, outside the restaurant, Xiaoqian and Li Na watch the place in jealousy and wonder what exactly Su Chen is eating there. They've heard that each dish costs at least 10,000 yuan, and the fact that he's casually going there for a snack just further proves to them that he must be some kind of second-generation kid. Once Xiaoqian becomes a rich wife, she will definitely be able to take care of her sisters. Next in his adventure around town, Su Chen heads over to the Arya Scans bar in the Golden Sales Vault of Shangdu. In his past life, he regretted not being able to enjoy these kinds of extravagant places, and once the apocalypse starts, then places like these will no longer exist. So he's taking the chance to explore this place as much as he can. A group of girls sit beside him as soon as he gets settled down. He agrees to drink with them, but his eyes notice that one of the girls doesn't seem as enthusiastic about being there as her friends. The girls tell him that her name is Yun Yun, and this is her first time in the club. Her boyfriend just recently cheated on her, so they brought her to the club to have some fun. The guy didn't sleep with her at all and went on to cheat on her with an old woman. She's so depressed that she drinks an entire glass of alcohol, then slams it on the table. She then asks Su Chen if he's single and if he wants to have some fun with her. The girls cheer him on while Xiaoqian and Li Na enter the club and notice the two of them getting comfortable in the back. He notices the two of them. Then he takes the girl by the shoulder and leads her up the stairs. The two girls chase after him as he runs up the stairs and into a random bedroom. He locks the door behind them and tries to apologize for bringing her upstairs in a rush, but the girl seems more interested in laying with him. Our protag doesn't have any interest in taking advantage of her when she's clearly sad, so he flicks her on the forehead and warns her not to go out and to try to stock up on food in her house while she still can. Then he tries to advise her not to come to places like these since she seems to be more love-minded than her friends. But then he realized that there's no point since there will be no future for her to worry about. It's rare for him to have an opportunity to come to a place like this, but in this situation, he has no choice but to avoid them. He walks into the back of the hall and sees the two girls kicking down multiple doors in an attempt to find him. With these two here, there's no chance for him to enjoy himself for the rest of the night. He manages to escape their manhunt for him and heads home to relax and escape from the rampaging girls. The next day, all the things he ordered, including the smokeless charcoal and the ice, were shipped to him. Several trucks show up in front of a warehouse he had rented for the drop-off, and he guides them in to deliver the goods. One of the truckers is concerned that the warehouse doesn't have a refrigerated room, which means that there's a chance that all the ice will melt, but he tells them not to worry about that. He instructs them to move the goods into the warehouse and directs them to specific places in the warehouse. While all of this is happening, Xiao Yu tracks down Xiaoqian to tell her that Su Chen has rented a large warehouse in the suburbs, and he also bought a lot of large machines that are being moved into the warehouse. She's interested in what he's doing, so she goes over to the warehouse with Li Na to see what's going on for herself. The first thing they see as soon as they get there is the massive banquet from the Green City Hotel being delivered and set up. There was even a red carpet laid out, and the whole setup looked like an after-party for a wedding. Li Na is convinced that Su Chen would propose, and then guests will come in from all directions to see the wedding. Xiaoqian is still proud enough to say that even if he proposes, then she might not accept it. Then she asks Lina to accompany her to see just how sincere Su Chen will be towards her. They head over, and Xiaoqian asks him why exactly he's buying so many things and what he wants to do with so many supplies. He doesn't answer them. Then he tells her to help move the boxes into the warehouse. If she helps, then he will tell her everything she needs to know. Xiaoqian is disgusted by him suggesting that she would do menial labor. She's planning to become a rich lady, so how can he expect her to do such rough work? Lina reminds her that this is a test for her to see if she's qualified to become a rich lady. Despite still being appalled that she's being told to do grunt work, she decides to just do it for the sake of her future rich girl lifestyle. She manages to lift a heavy box onto her shoulder to prove to him that she's not just a delicate woman. Lina also tries to help out as well, since she knows that second-generation rich people are usually lustful, and there's a chance that she could become a rich lady as well if she played her cards right. All the while, Su Chen just laughed at the free labor he was getting from these two. There were so many supplies to move around, and even though the hotel had sent some people to help, it would still take a long time to get everything into the warehouse. They spend the whole day moving things, and by evening, they are done. With all the work done, Xiaoqian is exhausted and angry. She worked all through the day without even a meal. Surely, after all this, she will definitely become a rich lady, just like she has always dreamed. Lina also lays on the floor exhausted. She can't believe that Su Chen made them lift heavy things all through the day. Just the ice blocks alone weighed over 100 pounds each. But now, the test is finally over, and he is going to make her his bride. Then they'll have a huge wedding, and all the wealthy guests will start appearing. At least that's what she thought when she walked over to confront Su Chen. The man is busy paying all the workers huge sums of money as thanks for their hard work. Then he promises to settle the remaining bill during the week according to their contract. The workers all sing in appreciation before leaving, while Xiaoqian leans against a door, waiting for him to propose to her. Su Chen walks past her and heads towards the warehouse. On his way, he thanks her for helping but tells her that she isn't getting any pay for her work, then tells her to leave. Xiaoqian desperately asks him to stop playing around with her. There had to be guests coming to see them start their good and happy married life. That's what all these preparations were for, right? Su Chen is amused by her thoughts of a good life. He almost wishes that their happily ever after would come. But now, not only did he sell his house, but he's in a ton of debt from the multiple loans he has taken out to buy all this stuff. Lina yells in surprise behind them. That had to be impossible. He bought over 10 million yuan worth of food from a restaurant, as well as tens of thousands of other supplies. How could he be broke after all of that? Su Chen decides to lie that there's a big boss who wanted to do a good deed, so he decided to help out. The boss wants to bring people from charity together and give them food and supplies. Xiaoqian can't take it anymore and lunges at him. She screams that he lied to her, and he has been leading her on this entire time. But our protagonist easily dodges the attack and tells her that he never lied to her. This entire thing was just her delusion, and she was left thinking something that wasn't true. She continues yelling at him while she lays on the ground. She thought he was a second-generation rich man, but now that she knows that he's broke, she tells him that he can forget about marrying her. That's completely fine with him since no one would ever care about a gold digger like her. That sends Xiaoqian over the edge, and she storms off, vowing that he will regret everything he has done to her. Lina follows behind, but not before warning Su Chen that he's finished. Su Chen is not even slightly worried about the empty threats. In the apocalypse, the only people that will regret anything are them once the apocalypse starts. With the two nuisances gone, he locks himself in the warehouse and looks at the mountain of resources that he has managed to gather.